just want to start by saying thank you to you, because it's only worked successfully because of all the commitment, the wisdom and really the experience that you've brought to these proceedings.
What you can see when you talk to people on the tables as well and get their feedback is that it's a process. People have built on what they've said last time. They've chatted with friends and family about these things too. They're really beginning to consider it more.
Today we're going to discuss the statement of values, and that is something which we've had a lot of discussion about over the previous events. Up until now, there's emerged a pretty strong feeling that a statement of values could be useful in some circumstances. So today, people have been trying to get to grips with what that might mean, how it should be drafted, what it might contain, how it might be used particularly, what sort of circumstances could it be used.
We really started by thinking about where values came from, and family was really highlighted as being exceptionally important.
One of the ones we're missing is a sense of community. That we really haven't listed that, and that forms the basis for a lot of other values.
Isn't it just instinct? Don't you just know what's right and what's wrong and what you should and shouldn't do?
I think it's an individual thing, but if everybody got the right values very, very young, I think the world would be a better place.
But what we want to talk about now is a little bit more depth about responsibilities, about how they may play through in practice, and particularly in relation to the delivery of public services. Where is the limit of antisocial behaviour, responsibility and antisocial behaviour? Over and over again around the tables I've heard people talking about this and talking about the sense of tolerance we should have one for another and where the limits of that tolerance are.
Our table thought that if you have the rights, you should have the responsibility, and if you should have the responsibility, then this should feed into policy development.
Is there any way that we can enforce these responsibilities for the people in the community that aren't really willing to become part of that group contract?
People know how they should behave, but I think you've got to be responsible to have things back.
I think we do have a lot of personal responsibility. It is our right to behave in a certain way, and it reflects upon society in our country.
If you take up a responsibility, you have to follow it through. You have to abide by what you chose.
We're going to discuss about how we should actually move forward to formulate a statement of values.
People at first were kind of, what on earth's a statement of values, what's all that about? They can actually see what it is now, and they've got a very, very good idea in their head about potential purposes.
My own view is that we should have something that's a little bit like the highway code. It's just a code of practice.
Everyone's values are different, but I think a general statement of values just stating these are the basic things we expect from everyone.
If we are going to have a statement of values, somebody actually has to hold the pen and write it so that Parliament can in the end decide it.
The people that live here should have a say in what the statements of values consist of.
You'd also need a writer who could turn it into something which wasn't complex, but was accessible and easily understood by everyone.
If we were to have this, it would need to be concise and kind of toned down in terms of language, so it didn't read like an insurance document.
What has come out of today, I think, are some very useful indicators for how government can take this forward.
We all come from different culture, different background, but we have some common values, to be respected, respect people, probably respect yourself, respect your neighbours, respect your elderly. That's value, I think, for all of us.
Everybody's views are different, but the values are generally the same.
Being here on crutches shows you how keen I was to come to the third one. It's been a wonderful experience.